NotebookLM just got Gemini 3, and Claude just got a browser that clicks buttons for you. And when you combine them, you get an AI assistant that researches, organizes, and takes action across your entire browser while you're literally doing something else. No coding, no complicated setup, just hiring a VA to do boring, repetitive tasks. Just tell it what you want, watch your work, get results. Today, I'm testing this live. You can actually see an example here, and I was experimenting with it before. So what you can see here on the right-hand side is I have the Claude browser use agent. And essentially what we said is open NotebookLM, create a notebook called this, add these competitor websites, load up their services, put it into a data table, compare their USPs, their content strategy, export the data table to Google Sheets, then generate an audio overview summarizing the competitive landscape. And you can see here, it says, here's what we've done, here's how we've done it, blah, blah, blah. And you can see the audio overview was generated, right? And it blew my mind how easy it was to do this. So for example, here, if we have a look at this notebook, you can see that actually created the notebook step by step. Pretty simple and easy to do. And you can see here it's generated the audio automatically, which is basically a podcast of the competitor analysis. Now, the other thing is as well, they actually created this data table. So we've got a data table right here, analyzing all the data of our competitors. I just plugged in my own websites just to make it simple and easy. And then you can see over here, we have that exported to a Google Sheet that Claude actually opened up, checked the results of, and did everything in the background whilst I was preparing for this video, my friends, whilst I was doing this in the background. So it's absolutely mind-blowing. I'm going to show you exactly how to set this up, how to use it, etc. The video notes from today are inside the AI Success Lab, which is a community of 42,100 members, as you can see right here. Now, if you go to the classroom and then you go to December 2025, scroll down to this section and you will find all the resources and the video notes from today. So how do we do this? What are we using? Well, what we're actually using is Claude in Chrome, which is their browser use agent. It works in Chrome. It can actually navigate, see the screen, click buttons, work inside whatever ecosystem and logins you have. Once you've loaded that up, you're going to see this extension that looks like so. You can switch between Opus, Haiku, 4.5. I didn't even use the best version for doing this. I actually just use Haiku 4.5. As you can see right over here, Haiku 4.5. And then I tested out with a basic prompt like go to NotebookLM and create a new notebook. It did it, but then we actually created something even better, which is this more complicated prompt here. I was basically trying to break it, and it just kept going and actually doing this stuff. Now, this is amazing because it really is at a point where you're thinking, okay, you know, why are you hiring like people to click buttons, you know, in your team or your agency or whatever, right? I mean, the crazy thing about this is, you know, you can create notebooks, add sources, generate audio overviews. You can build data tables, all whilst I'm working on something else entirely. And I think this may be the future of how solopreneurs will run their business, like one person, because you can have multiple AI agents working simultaneously. Yes, they can actually do stuff. Yes, they can generate podcasts, do research, create Google Sheets, analyze data, plug in data into spreadsheets, as you can see automatically, all whilst I'm doing something else. And the crazy part is both of these tools you can combine. And I'm going to show you how to set up Claude for Chrome to control Notebook automatically today. The exact prompts that make this work: a 30-day system to build your own AI research army, or, you know, army of AI agents to do anything, basically. Some live demos that might completely break, but that's how we learn. And why this changes everything for content creators, agency owners, coaches, and consultants. So let's just see if this actually works again, or if it's just hype. Stick around, all right? And the method that we're going to be using here is something called the Browser Agent Research System. All right, so it's not about finding the best tool, it's about making tools work together. And NotebookLM is incredible for research and organizing information, but you still have to click it manually. You have to open it, create notebooks, add sources, click buttons, wait, click more buttons. That's time consuming, all right? And that's where Claude for Chrome changes everything. It's literally an AI that can see your browser and click things for you, like having a virtual assistant sitting next to you, except this one works 24/7, doesn't need coffee breaks, and never complains about boring tasks. All right, so this is brand new technology, but let's test it out and see what we can do here. So this is one that I'm going to test out here. And we're actually going to say go to NotebookLM, create a new notebook called Goldie Agency SPs, add these to the sources. So my website, search for YouTube link building strategies. Once the sources are added, generate an audio overview, then create a data table comparing the key strategies mentioned. Let me know when complete. So if we go over to Claude, as you can see, I'm tempted to use Opus 4.5 just to see how it goes. You can switch between ask before acting or act without asking. Now, if you want to be careful, obviously this is logged into your Chrome, right? So, you don't want to mess anything up that you're logged into. Then just go with ask before acting and make sure you're happy with it before you go. You can actually teach Claude stuff as well here, but let's test this out. So in some ways, I'm actually hoping this doesn't work. It'd be interesting to see if it breaks. But it's given us a plan here. You can see how quickly it actually replies as well. And it's like, right, here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to do it. Let's get started. All right. So I'm going to approve the plan here and get started with this. Okay. Ash says, don't think they make you power user. This agent automates but doesn't engage you. Well, I mean, let's see. I wouldn't consider, I do use Claude a lot, to be fair, more and more so, especially since ChatGPT 5.2 came out and it kind of like made ChatGPT worse in many ways. But you can see here it's beginning to set up a notebook for my SEO agency. And these are like real use cases, right? This is like stuff we would actually do for our agency, some research we would do. Maybe we don't have the resources for it sometimes, and so we don't do it. But, if you've got an army of AI agents that can just go off and build notebooks and do research and compare data tables and rename them and organize them properly, like you can see it's actually doing right here. So it's renaming Goldie Agency SOPs over here, as you can see, and then it's beginning to build out the notebook. So this is all automatically running whilst I'm talking to you, and you can see that it's fairly straightforward to actually be able to use this stuff, right? This is not like anything fancy that I'm doing. I don't need to code. I don't need to be technical to use this or anything like that. All right. So it's now adding the website sources to the document. So what it actually does is it screenshots step by step exactly what it's doing and how it's working. And then it's going to access the website button, reading the page, and then it will just go off and do its magic. All right. So this is literally like an AI agent that can see things, click things, etc. Now you can see it's navigated to the website URL section. And bear in mind, like you're just going off and doing stuff in the background, right? So, when you're actually completing this task, you're not even thinking about it. It's not really containing any sort of energy inside your mind. You can see it's now written goldieagency.com inside the website section, and it's beginning to add this out. Crazy Gamer says agentic AI can make Chrome extension for this exact step and do faster than the screenshot, and that's even better. The other thing you could do is actually train Notebook on the sources and the typical tasks that you do day to day. You train it once, you got the SOP baked into Claude, and then it can just go off and do its magic each time, right? Now, what it's also doing in the background here, you'll see at the top, is it is navigating to YouTube, right? So it's navigating to YouTube, it's researching link building strategies, it's going to find some link building strategy YouTube URLs that it can plug into NotebookLM, and then it's good to go. Now, whilst it's working in the background, let me talk you through like the Goldie agent stack framework. And, it's something that I've been thinking a lot about, right? So, for example, I'll track like every single minute of my time, the day, the task, what it's related to, how many minutes I worked on it, etc. And then I either delegate what I can't personally do, or I actually automate it, right? Now, this framework is how I'm approaching AI agents in 2026. So this is the next move, really. It's called the Goldie agent stack, and here's the concept, right? So, for example, you've got layer one, which is the research agent, and for example, you could use like NotebookLM and deep research. You've got Claude for Chrome. Then you've got layer three, which is the creation agent. So you could use, for example, like Gemini plus Claude for content. And then layer four is like distribution agent. So that's the automations that publish stuff, right? And when these layers work together, you basically become like a one-person media company, but one person doing the work of like 10 people without the chaos, without the burnout, without hiring before you're ready, right? And so let's go back to NotebookLM now, see what we're up to. So it's plugged in the YouTube URL, as you can see as well. So it's actually sourced YouTube videos about link building. I think a smarter way to do this, like Ash says, is you could use the deep research features, and you'll actually get more sources that you can load in, and you'll get those loaded in faster. But this is just an example of like how it can navigate to different pages around the web and then plug those into NotebookLM. And then Crazy Gamer says, also after building all the layers, we can create Omni Agent to monitor or like a hierarchical office structure. Literally Jarvis. Yeah, it's crazy what you can do with this stuff. Like it is wild. It is wild. And you can see now it's generating the audio overview. So just to recap the steps here and what it's done, this is absolutely amazing, honestly. Like it is gone to Notebook LM, it's created a new notebook called Goldie Agency SOPs, it's added these sources, so goldieagency.com and YouTube link building strategies. It waited for those sources to load, then it generated an audio view, which you can see generating over here. And it's also generating a table, a data table based on the two sources, right? And it's comparing the key strategies mentioned. And again, like you might say, well, isn't it faster using a virtual assistant to do this for you, or someone on your team? But the difference here is like, number one, you don't need to manage and hire and QC people, quality control them. Number two, this is running in the background, so it doesn't really matter about the speed as long as it gets done within a reasonable time frame, like you can see it's doing today. Also, the other difference here is that you don't have all the stress of managing a team. I have a team of 50 people. I love them all, but it does take a lot of time, and it requires a lot of stress running a big agency like this, right? Whereas, for example, with these sort of tasks, and these are quite complex tasks. The other thing here as well is like Claude already understands how to use NotebookLM. Whereas unless you train someone on like this cutting edge technology, they're not going to understand how to use NotebookLM yet, right? That might take them a day to figure out. So you're saving a lot of time right here. All right, so that basically completed the task successfully. It generated the data tables, everything else, created the SOP section. I'm going to stop this Claude now because it's pretty much good to go. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to say open NotebookLM, create a notebook called YouTube Content Ideas, January 2026. Use deep research to find the latest AI automation tools and updates. Add the deep research report as a source, then add these YouTube sources. I'm actually going to remove the YouTube sources just to make it faster, and then generate a mind map of all the content topics covered, right? Create flashcards for the key concepts. Let me know when everything is ready. So let's plug that in. Herman says, is Opus free? I don't think it's free. I think it is part of the pro plan, especially the Chrome browser, the AI agent. But honestly, like if it saves you time, it's worth it, right? And you can see here it's actually reported back to me on all the competitor stuff and giving me a new plan for the next task, right? And bear in mind, like, this doesn't get tired like a human would, right? Like, this is really mind-blowing. So Ash says, I want to know how to use NotebookLM search better, like high-level data processing. So the best feature for that really is the deep research reports. Then you can pull in a lot of stats, a lot of research, a lot of case studies, right? And once you've done that, then you can actually turn those into data tables. And with the data tables, you can then export those to Google Sheets, analyze them. Or the other thing you can do is you can actually go over to Gemini and you can take a research report that you've created via NotebookLM, right? So you can actually take multiple, right? So we could take like a couple like these, and then we could say, okay, turn this into a dynamic view where I can study all the stats in my industry, all the industry reports, etc., and really understand the data behind it. And that way, I think humans sometimes we struggle with data and a lot of it and seeing patterns, whereas typically AI is very good with pattern recognition when it comes to working with data. So you can see how powerful this stuff is today. I've shown you exactly how to use it, how to set it up, etc. It's working its magic right here. It's created the YouTube content ideas January section. That will just work in the background like I've been talking about whilst I talk to you. So what I've actually done inside the video notes from today is create the 30-day browser agent mastery plan. All right. And I'm going to give you a 30-day plan to master all this stuff, not like theory or fluff, like actual steps you can start using today. I've tested this out. I've shown you that it works. It has completed pretty much every tool that and task I've given it, which is pretty amazing. And so, it walks you through what to do every single day. Plus, it gives you prompts and how you can prompt the AI agent to do stuff for you, right? So if you want to test this out yourself, you can go through the whole method, as you can see right here. Herman says, I'm on the pro plan and can't pull in notebooks. If you can't pull in notebooks on Gemini, then what you can do is actually export the data table and then run that through, for example, AI Studio or something like that. You could ask Claude even to like take the data from the data table and then plug that into Gemini and create a Canva and that sort of thing. Christian says, I'm losing count of all the Google AI tools. Maybe they should make clear ones on which ones to use for which purpose. Many people, this is unclear. 100%. What I actually do inside the AI Profit Boardroom, I do this as a weekly update. As you can see, I actually posted one today. I do these weekly updates, and it's basically the only AI update you need each week, right? And basically what it runs you through is 80 hours of my work per week, and it condenses that into 5 minutes of work where you just read the update. You're like, here's what's good, here's what to ignore, etc. And it walks you through it, right? So you can see here, it's like, okay, here's what's worth your time, here's what to remove. And I spend these 80 hours testing AI major releases, so you don't have to. Give you the TLDR inside the AI Profit Boardroom. So if you haven't checked that out, definitely check it out. It's available at the AIprofitboardroom.com, or you can just search it on Google or just check out the link in the comments description. But that's basically how you can use it. That's probably the fastest way, I think, to learn AI and figure out, okay, what's worth your time and what's worth ignoring. So you can see here, for example, you could actually, for example, schedule your research prompts and that sort of thing. And this is a 30-day plan that just takes you from beginner to expert with a 30-day transformation plan. All right. Now, I want to talk about, what's holding most people back when it comes to this stuff, because I actually don't think it's the tools, it's not the tech, it's usually the beliefs, right? And here's what I've learned from running the AI Profit Boardroom with nearly 1,900 members, and from building my SEO agency with over 50 team members, and from creating so much content about AI, right? The beliefs actually matter more than the tactics. So, some people say, well, I need to understand coding to use AI agents. And I would say that's not true at all, okay? Like AI agents, as you can see today, work through plain English commands, right? So you tell the AI what you want it to do, like you can see over here, and then it can actually load sources, do deep research for you, and just complete stuff in the background, all right? Like, I speak 5 languages, like Chinese, Spanish, Italian, Thai, English, but I don't speak a single programming language, and I've built more automations than most developers. Why is that? It's because the new generation of AI tools doesn't require code. You literally just tell them what to do. Go to this website, click this button, create this thing. That's it. And the people winning right now with AI are not the best coders. They are the best communicators, all right? And they can clearly explain what they want. That's a skill. All right, there's people like Richard Branson out there, and he openly admits to not being able to spell, but he's built an empire. Why? Because he could communicate his vision and get others to implement. And now others includes AI agents. It's the same skill, but it's new tools, right? Lazy says Manus acquired by Meta. Yeah, I actually did a couple of video updates about that and a live stream yesterday on that. And Gerasmus says, every time I see your live stream, have to keep remind myself you're in the UK and not in the US. Your live streams pop up at a convenient time. Awesome, man. Awesome. Welcome to you. The new empowering belief really is like browser agents do the boring tasks whilst I focus on the highest value stuff, right? So like Claude might take 5 minutes to do something you can do in 30 seconds, but those 5 minutes are happening in the background whilst you're doing something else, right? And so most people waste hours on low value tasks that feel productive, checking things, organizing things, researching things. But now you can let the AI agent do that whilst you focus on the work that actually moves the needle, right? Some people say, well, I'm late to AI, but browser use agents are brand new and we are all beginners together. I didn't even know you could do this stuff. I didn't know it was that good, but you can see how good it is. So yeah, Scully is here. Welcome, Scully. Goldie Pop. There we go. All right. So you can see here, it's actually going to take a while to do that deep research, but you can basically use this for anything. I've not found any limitations yet. That's the mind-blowing thing about this. Other people say, well, this is just another shiny object. It won't last. But actually, I think browser automation is the future. This is just like version 1.0, right? Like browser use agents have only been around for about a year. I've been doing this for years. I've seen tools come and go. But here's how I know browser use agents are different, right? Like every major AI company is building and racing to build them, right? So for example, like, you've got Meta acquiring Manus, and that just happened yesterday. Why are they doing that? It's because Manus has a browser use agent, right? Like it can work, it can do stuff way better than most APIs. Anthropic has Claude for Chrome. OpenAI has its agent. Google has Gemini integrated into Chrome. Perplexity built an entire AI browser. And so if you see like every major player moving in the same direction, that's not hype. That's the future. The tools will get better, faster, more reliable. And the people who learn the principles now will have a massive head start. Okay. So I've run through like all of the old ways and the new ways as well. But basically, like if you look at research, right? So for example, the old way would be opening like 47 tabs, copying and pasting into Google Docs, listening track and starting over. The new way is like you just tell Claude what to research, organize it in NotebookLM whilst you work on something else, right? With content ideas, like the old way was staring at a blank screen, scrolling for competitors, hoping for inspiration. The new way is like AI just researches trends, generates ideas, creates audios, that you can listen to once you walk or whatever, right? The old way was like with client prep, for example. I know a lot of people watching this have clients. The old way was like manually visiting the website, Googling their companies, scrambling for information before the calls. The new way is like the agent builds a full research notebook with talking points in the background whilst you're just waiting for the Zoom call, right? Competitor analysis, before you be using spreadsheets, manually checking websites, it's pretty much outdated by the time you finish. Now you've got auto-generated data tables with comparisons exported to sheets, updated on command, like you can see right here with Claude and the browser use agent plus NotebookLM right here. So it is absolutely amazing what you can do. Is it true Manus can handle the backend database and authentication? I think if you connected to Supabase, you probably can. Crazy Gamer says Gemini can now use our Android device and browser agent in the cloud, and Manus AI has its own system. Yeah, I mean, it is amazing what you can do. So that's it, basically. Thanks so much for watching. I've also included not just a 30-day plan, not just all the limiting beliefs that might be holding you back, but also I've included 100 prompts for Claude Chrome plus NotebookLM. So if you want to learn like basic NotebookLM navigation prompts, you can just copy and paste these in right here and just customize them to you. As you can see right here, you just fill in the blanks, right? You've also got, for example, tips on creating notebooks. You've got ideas on like using deep research with the AI agent. You've got generating audio overview methods and all these prompts for creating data tables as well, right? So I know a lot of people are asking, how do you automate data? How do you analyze data from NotebookLM, etc.? Well, you can use a combination of Claude, right, plus NotebookLM and then generate like amazing data steps. And bear in mind, like here, look, 110 steps, right? It completed 110 steps in the background. How crazy is that? Is your team going to do that? in the space of minutes? Probably not. I think they're going to struggle. It's going to be a lot of time and that sort of thing. So yeah, you can see the 30-day roadmap, all the prompts from today, the whole framework that I've built for you, plus the 30-day roadmap. And that's all inside the AI Success Lab, link in the comments description. This also connects you with 42,100 members, as you can see. And inside the classroom here, you can get all the videos from this, plus all of the other notes from today as well. And we add like daily trainings to this section as well. All right. What else we got here? So we got King A says, "You're the man, Goldie. Thank you very much." So it's always good to see you, King Ace. Appreciate you just jumping on the live streams. By the way, can I hey Jen some of your content for my personal brand, just same scripts, etc. So if you want to click, what I'd recommend for that is you just click my videos, and we actually have a course on how to do that inside the AI Profit Boardroom. So if you go to the AI Profit Boardroom classroom, you can see how, and then you don't even have to create your own content. You can check out this section right here, and it guides you through like how people are doing this using video clips. So if you want to learn that stuff, you can get it inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Samantha says, "I'm in the UK. Also have a really good idea for an app, but I'm not sure how to start. I think I can vibe code it." I'm actually going to do a video in a second on how to do that stuff. So stick around, Samantha, and I'll help you build this stuff out. All right. Crazy Gamer says, "Julian, sir, in the next year, what if Google removed the search results and feeds it with AI generated content? What will happen to my website?" I mean, like, the same fundamentals apply, right? It's like great on page, good content, target the right keywords, build the right backlinks, etc. If you do that, you're going to get results, right? Like, for example, like, I don't know, if you're creating content on your website and you're ranking it, right, then it's going to rank inside AI search engines, and it's also going to rank inside other sources too, right? So for example, here you can see the two of my websites rank top 2 inside this AI search engine, right? And we actually do this for our clients inside our SEO agency. Go to juliangoldie.com if you want to get a free SEO strategy session, but the same fundamentals apply. It's like whether it's AI generated or whether it's SEO, you can still rank your content inside these AI search engines, and that's not a problem. Gemini Deep Research, how do you view the report without pulling all the research? Not sure what you mean by that, but basically, once you've loaded the resources, right, then you're going to pull in the report, right? And you see now it's generated the report in the background, okay? So you've got the deep research report like so, and then on the left-hand side, you've got all the research here. And then what you can do is you can just generate a mind map, or you can generate flashcards, right? You can see it's actually created some flashcards based on this, right? You can also generate like infographics. That's a nice way to view the deep research you've done without going through all the research individually. And that's much faster as well. So thanks so much for watching. If you haven't already, check out the AI Profit Boardroom. This is just an amazing community of winners using AI automation. If you want to, for example, ask questions, connect with 1,900 serious AI automation builders. If you want to get all of my best trainings, and also if you want to jump on live coaching calls and just get help 4 times a week, you can. And the other cool thing about this is that you can actually jump on these coaching calls, and we have a PhD scientist who's trained in AI that can help you, right, with your questions live. You also, inside the AI Automation Masterclass here, we'll show you how to build AI agents in under 5 minutes, plus how to go from a complete beginner to an expert in just 5 weeks with AI automation. On top of that, you'll also get my playbook with all of my best trainings, automations, Twitter, shorts. If you want to learn how I create avatar videos, we've got a full process inside there. If you want to learn how we create screen shares with AI avatars, we've got a full process here, right? And on top of that, we also got, for example, all these different trainings on like lead generation of social media, NA10 templates, a full agency course on how to get clients. We record the coaching calls if you can't watch them back. We have our best AI SEO automations and YouTube AI as well. On top of that, if you sign up to the AI Profit Boardroom, you also get free access to the SEO Elite Circle as well. So whilst you're an active member, so feel free to get that inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Link in the comments description. You can see all the people winning with this stuff right here, as you can see, right? So people are just getting awesome results with this stuff, and it's just an amazing place to be. I'm grateful to be part of it. Google just dropped like 5 free tools that let you build apps without writing a single line of code. No developers needed, no expensive software, no coding skills needed. And today we're going to be testing out some of their best tools, including AI Studio, Opal, Firebase Studio, Gemini Super Gems, and Google Workspace Studio Live. We're going to see exactly what these tools can do. Can you really build a full app with one click? Let's find out together. And I'll show you how to build a complete web app just by describing what you want, how to create AI mini apps that automate your daily tasks, how to go from idea to live app in just a few minutes, how to deploy your app for the world to see, and how to build lead generation tools, content apps, and client dashboards. This is brand new. Google just released these updates in the last few weeks, and we're about to test them now to see if they work. This is actually inspired by a comment I got on one of my latest videos. Guestang said, I'm a language teacher. Can you enlighten me on how to create an app for my students to use these Google tools? All right. I'll provide the app with pictures and questions, ask students and apps, and the students will reply. All right. So let's get into this and I'll show you exactly how to do it. All right. So we're going to get straight into this. You got a good haircut. Is that directed at me? Thank you. Some of these comments, love them. Thank you. And King A says, can you connect backend authentication? I'll show you how to do that in a sec. All right. So let's get straight into this. Let's say, for example, you want to build a language app. One of the easiest ways you can do with this is you can go to AI Studio, as you can see over here, and then you can go into the playground and you can go into build, right? Now, if you go to build here, you can describe what you want and create kind of like really cool apps. Now, you could create a conversational voice app, right? And that would actually reply to people, not just with pictures and videos, not just with pictures and videos and stuff, but also with the voice. So you can actually go back and forth and learn the language with the person you're speaking to, right? So for example, here, I can say, I'm a language teacher building an app for my students, right? And then we'll say over here, okay, create a voice app that helps people and teaches people Spanish, right, in real time. Something like that. So you can click on build over here and that'll begin to build this out. Scully says, I speak Dutch really well, so I made an app to learn even more. It works great. How did you build it? I'd be interested to know. I speak a little Danish and German and Spanish and Japanese too. Yeah, well, we got that's pretty impressive, man. Good for you. All right, so we're going to wait for this to load, and this will start building out the conversational app. There's many ways you can do this. So I could also do the same thing. And bear in mind, like I've just clicked one button, right? I've prompted it and given it one button to click, right? As you can see, I actually previously did with this AI voice agent that can actually speak to me, and it kind of like it can, you know, for example, speak to new customers, and I can embed that on my website and that sort of thing, right? And I'll show you how to deploy this stuff later. So it's beginning to build out. In the meantime, we can also do the same thing inside Google Opal, right? Opal.google. Now, this is not available everywhere in the world. So, for example, I was in the UK recently. In the UK, you can't use Opal. It is limited. So just be aware of where you are. But if you can't use one of these options, it's okay, because you can definitely use Google AI Studio and you have many options available. So I'm going to do the same thing inside AI Studio and say I'm a language builder, building out for my students. I'm going to just say create a flashcard app that helps people and teaches people Spanish, right? Simple like that. So we'll plug that in, hit enter, and we'll go from there. And if you, for example, I know Samantha, you were saying before you need help creating apps as well. Samantha, if you have questions as we go along, like feel free to ask, and I'm just happy to help you, right? It's an honor. So we're going to wait for Opal to start building this stuff out. Now we have AI Studio that's already built this out, which is beautiful. We can use, for example, Firebase as well. Now Firebase is another free tool that you can use to build stuff, but the difference with Firebase is that it's kind of more like an app creator, right? And what I mean by that is like a mobile app creator. So if you want to build with this, and I've also included all the video notes and the resources inside the AI Success Lab, so you can just get access to all the video notes from today, plus all the links if you need stuff like this, link in the comments and description. And if we go back to Firebase Studio, now I'm just going to delete one of these. You can only have like 10 apps inside your workspace, so I need to delete a couple. And now we can start building stuff out. I'm going to say, I'm a language teacher, blah, 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 same prompt. We can actually improve the prompt here, so we'll actually make it better, which is probably what we want, to be honest. That was a very basic prompt. And then you can see it's refined the app prompt. We can click prototype with AI, and that should build out a plan that we then approve in a second. All right. So just to recap, we've built out an app with AI Studio, and we'll test that in a second. We've built out an app with Opal. We've also built this app with Firebase. Now we can do the same thing inside Gemini as well. And you have two kind of options for this. You could use a dynamic view, which is a new sort of experimental feature, or what you could actually use is the canvas. All right. Now, I'm actually going to go with dynamic view because I kind of prefer the layout, and usually the UI is super nice when you're doing this. So I'm going to do the same thing here. And then you can do it inside workspace as well. Honestly, I don't think for this particular use case, it would be recommended, but this is more for like automating, stuff like preparing for meetings or translating stuff, right? Auto labeling priority email, saving attachments to Drive, or responding to your customers pretty quickly as well. There's all sorts of automations on that. So I'm actually not going to focus on that for this particular automation, but you can use that. I have lots of training inside the AI Success Lab on how to do that. And if we go back to Google Gemini, we're also going to use Canvas and compare the outputs of Canvas versus everything else along with Dynamics as well. All right. So we're going to wait for these to build, and then we've got 5 apps being built out, right? We've got AI Studio, Opal, Firebase, Gemini, Dynamic Labs, and then Gemini Canvas as well. All right. So if we go back to Firebase Studio, it's giving us the options to approve this, as you can see. What I'm actually going to do over here is give me some annoying pop-ups here. I'm going to build out this app. Now you can see it's named it. It's given us the features, and then it's also given us the style guidelines and also the stack for the UI. Beautiful. So if we click on prototype this app, it's now going to start automating that as well. Again, one click, right? All of this is one click. Christian says, if you want to add things like PayPal, for example, or logins. So for logins or database, I recommend using Supabase, right? Supabase, it works with a lot of these different apps. So for example, you can use Supabase with AI Studio. When it comes to PayPal, you can actually use PayPal's MCP inside your app as well. And then you've got 2 different options, all right? Samantha says she's building an app for Etsy sellers that creates the title, description, and SEO tags. And so the way that you could do that, and if you want to sell apps as well, then you just integrate it again with like Stripe or PayPal, right? But basically, you can go over to AI Studio here, and you can say, okay, create an app that automates generating the title, description, plus SEO tags for Etsy gigs based on the gig I type in, right? We'll hit build like so, and then that'll begin to build out as well, as you can see. OG says, what's your opinion on creating a local chat AI server using Claude to keep as a long-term project that remembers most things when chatting from window to window? I think that's pretty cool. I do use, depends what you're using it for, right? So for example, like I use a Whisperflow for like just, taking what I say and putting it into a chat, if that's what you mean. If you're looking for like a chatbot, I think Claude remembers everything anyway. I think it's got pretty good memory. And if you wanted to run it locally, maybe, yeah, if you want to keep things private, I guess that makes sense. You could use Olama as well. There's lots of free models on Olama as well. All right. So you can see here that we now have the option to practice Spanish. I'm just going to unmute my microphone, background noise, and then test this out. Now you can see there's a connection error, right? So what we're actually going to do is we're going to screenshot that. We're going to go back to the chat and say fix this, right? So if there's any errors, don't panic, just keep going and test it out in a second, all right? Just go again. You can see here we've got the flashcard in Espanol. So this is the actual workflow with Opal, and then we've got the app over here. So if we go to the app section, we can click on start, and then we can enter a topic. So let's say I want to learn about food. It's going to generate the flashcard content now. And then this is still coding out on Firebase. For AI Studio, yeah, so if you wanted to add your 20 questions, you just paste in your 20 questions here, right? So like if you wanted to, so Samantha asks, is there any way I could integrate the 20 questions that my custom GPT asked me into this app or not? Please, is this already trained? Yeah, so you just paste in your questions here and just say like, you know, basically, if you have your chat GPT instructions, you can just paste it inside the chat. So you can say, okay, ask these 20 questions before you give an answer. And then you insert your questions here. Right, insert your questions there. There you go. So if we go back to AI Studio now, it's beginning to build this out and fix it. Samantha says, great, thank you. That's easier than I thought. Glad to help. Happy to help. DJ says, how can I add a talking avatar with my business info for my website? So the way that you would do that, let me show you an example. So I don't think you can have like a talking head, but you can have a voice, if that makes sense, right? So you can have a voice that actually answers questions, not a talking head. So the way that you would do that, let me show you an example over here. So this is why I actually built, by the way, this is the Etsy app. It looks pretty nice, right? And then if you want to deploy it, you just go to deploy app, and then they'll actually give you like a shareable URL. As you can see. So if you go back inside here, you can actually view what you've built previously if you want to keep a track of it inside your apps. And then you go to created by you. You can see all the apps that you've created recently. And here's an example of a talking avatar with your business info. So if we allow this like so, and then you can see here, here's the prompt that we actually use. So you're a helpful voice assistant for SEO agency, Goldie agency, blah, blah, blah. And then from here, you can actually click on start free agency chat there. Yeah. So if we click on this, hey, can you help me do some keyword research, please?
Hello, I'd be happy to help with your SEO needs. We also offer a free SEO strategy session at juliangoldie.com. What kind of keyword research are you looking for?
Yeah, so I'm looking for help to do keyword research for my pet's website.
Great. Keyword research helps you get more visibility on Google. To get started, what kind of products or services do you offer for pets? And would you like help finding new keywords or seeing what your competitors are ranking for?
So I'm going to end the chat there. But essentially, you can see how to use this stuff, right? Now, what you can also do is, first of all, you want to make sure you've deployed the app, right? So make sure you've deployed the app. Click deploy app like so. And then once you've deployed it, you're then going to take this. Now, you can open it inside the cloud, as you can see. And what you can actually do is you can take this app URL, go into the chat here and say, allow me to embed this to my website in HTML or WordPress, right? Here's the app URL. We paste in the app URL that we just got a second ago. And what that should do in a second is actually give you the embeddable code that you can insert into WordPress, right? That'll think about how to embed it, and then it'll give you like some iframe code to use in a second. DJ says, thanks, happy to help. Julian says, Robert says, hey, nice, Julian. Do we need the paid version of Google Studio to build this app? So I think it will use app credits, but it's pretty cheap. And if you don't want to use AI Studio, then you can just use Gemini and create the same app inside Gemini, right? It all works the same, and Gemini is free. All right. So, for example, you see this app that we've actually built, as you can see. So, if we go to this flashcard, Ola, we click on this, goodbye, right? The flashcards work perfectly. And then you can deploy this to a shareable link and use it that way. But yeah, I mean, I've checked the billing before on AI Studio and it was super, super simple. Let's test this out again. So we've got the new version here.
Hola, soy tu profe de español. ¿Cómo estás hoy?
Todo bien, gracias. ¿Qué tal?
Me alegra. ¿Qué hiciste hoy?
Hoy, and you get the point, right? So, before I start speaking in Spanish and getting totally distracted, right? Like that's the point. That's how you can generate these apps, and I would say that's probably the most impressive out of all of them. Scully says, "Are you sure you don't have Neuralink in your brain?" Do you know what? Went to a school mastermind like a couple of weeks ago, and afterwards met up with one of the members from the AI Profit Boardroom. We had coffee together, and he was showing me how he uses Instagram for social media. It was pretty amazing. And then I was showing him all the systems that I use for AI, and he said, yeah, I showed him like the systems and the way that I systemize everything, and the way that I organize everything, and how I think. And he was like, Julian, you are the first person I've met who I think may have a chip in his brain. And I was like, I took it as a compliment, but I was kind of like, that's a bit scary actually. But I think I have got to the point where I think in terms of systems and that sort of thing. Yeah. So Lisa, you asked a question, but I don't quite understand it. But feel free to re-ask it or clarify it a bit more. Here's the app from Google Opal. As you can see, El Agua, the water, boom. El Pan. All right, so we're good to go. We've created the app inside Firebase Studio as well. Let's practice this. I think we just have to insert an app. Or sorry, oh no, it's working. So the airport, obviously. Okay, good. The train. This is too easy, peeps. All right, so we've created the app inside AI Studio with the voice. We've created the flashcards inside Opal, flashcards inside this mobile app on Firebase. We created the dynamic view, as you can see right here, for learning the essentials of Spanish. And then finally, we've got this app where we created another app on Canvas, right? And so that's 5 different ways that you can use Google to build this stuff, right? Bear in mind, AI Studio is free. I think it's just like if you start deploying it and embedding it on websites. If you actually just create it and then share it, it should be fine. Opal is free. Firebase is free up to limits. Gemini is free up to limits. So you're good to go on those. Scully says, I build a persona app for creating voice agent personalities. I then take the personalities, put them into a duo debate voice agent app I built, give them a topic, and they go at it. That's so cool. Yeah, that's awesome. And then King A says, how would you compare building automations in Google Studio and deploying them into your web page compared to N8N and GHL? Honestly, I don't really use N8N anymore. And the reason that I don't is because like it can break easily, and also the people who watch this channel, I think, struggle to use it too. Like, I don't know anyone personally who's shown me like an amazing mind-blowing N8N automation that wouldn't just be simpler to build inside, for example, AI Studio or Opal or that sort of thing. And bear in mind, like, you get the front end and the back end with AI Studio, whereas you don't get the back end and stuff you don't get the front end on N8N unless you're really good at coding, or if you link it to something like Lovable. Samantha says, could you use the app on your phone like an Apple app, not deploying it? Yeah, so you can actually do that with Bolt. I've seen Bolt and Lovable both do that. So there are 2 options for that, for creating the mobile app on your phone. I think you could probably do it with Firebase as well once you published it. But yeah, that's how I would do it. And then Zelisa says, can I make an app that, yeah, it comes up with marketing ideas for marketing stuff to give it an API? Yeah, 100%. Like I use that all the time for marketing apps. Like I come up with like ideas for content, and then it gives me ideas on like what it thinks will be the best option. So yeah, there's loads of different ways you can use this. It's amazing. So if you want all the video notes from today, what I've actually done is created the Goldie one-click app framework, and this is basically what I use today to help you. All right, so if you're not sure how this works, basically it's my step-by-step system for building apps with Google AI tools. I call it the Goldie one-click app framework because it's designed to get you from zero to a working app as fast as possible. Okay, so step number one, you pick and you choose the right tool for your app type. Step number two, you prompt describe your app in plain English. Step number three, preview so you see your app come to life in real time. Step number four, you're going to refine it with follow-up prompts. And step number five, you publish it, deploy it, and share it with the world, right? And I've shown you how it works today. So I've given you a bunch of example tools so you can actually build with this stuff, along with the prompts and the ideas on how it works, etc. What I've also done is I've given you some live builds today and examples of what I built. We also give you some app ideas that you could create that might be very useful. You know, practical stuff you can actually use in your business. What I've generated is a 30-day app builder challenge. And this is a day-by-day plan to become an AI app builder. So if you want to learn how to build this stuff with daily prompts, daily ideas, basically an action plan that you can implement daily to get results with this stuff, then you can follow this 30-day plan, as you can see. And then also, you know, some people say, well, I need to learn to code to build apps, but you're wrong, right? Because remember when everyone said you needed a computer science degree to work in tech, then WordPress came along and everyone built websites, right? Canva came along and let anyone build design graphics. Google AI comes along and lets anyone build apps, right? And you just describe what you want, the AI writes it for you. So the most empowering belief you can have right now is that the best app builders describe clearly, not code perfectly. All right. Some people say, well, I don't have time to learn new tools. I would say that's wrong. You know, I manage a 50-person SEO agency. I run the AI Profit Board with 1,900 members. I create content that reaches millions of people per year, right? But I still found time to test these tools because they don't take time to learn. They take like 5 minutes to use. You just click, prompt, build, done, right? And you save a lot of time because that 5 minutes could be a tool that saves you 5 hours per week, every single week for your career, right? And so a new empowering belief is really like 5 minutes testing could save you 5 hours weekly. Other people will say, well, these AI tools are just toys, right? Not real business labs, right? You're wrong. So Google AI Studio deploys directly to Google Cloud Run. The same infrastructure that runs YouTube, the same infrastructure that runs Gmail, the same infrastructure that's built a huge company, right? aka Alphabet with Google, without you changing a single thing. So it's not a toy, it's an enterprise infrastructure, and they gave it to you for free. All right. And the new empowering belief is really these tools use the same infrastructure that runs Google's biggest products. So I've also included 100 prompts that you can use to build apps with Google AI. So for example, like lead generation prompts, you can just copy and paste and build. Content creation apps, you know, client management apps, we've got productivity apps. There's 100 of these and you can get them all inside the AI Success Lab, which is completely free. Link in the comments and description. It connects you with 42,100 members. It's free. You can access the community here. You can check out the classroom. If you go to December here, you find the details. Link in the comments and description if you want to get access to this. All right. It also comes with training on all of these different tools, as you can see, it's like anti-gravity, windsurf, NotebookLM, Gemini, etc. Now, if you haven't checked it out already, you know, AI is changing everything overnight. You know, and whilst most business owners are playing with basic prompts, AI Profit Boardroom members are actually building real systems. So if you haven't already, check out the AI Profit Boardroom. It's an amazing community of builders who share their wins, their goals, what they're achieving, what they're working on. You can see all the cool stuff people are working on right here. You know, for example, like Steve built out a Telegram Messenger bot. You've got, for example, a new video generator. AM built and fixed his Wix blog. You've also got, for example, Vladimir building out mini courses, Johan white labeling voice agents, right? So like if you want to be part of a tribe of winners, Then inside the AI Profit Board, you actually get over 1,000 AI workflow templates. You get daily Q&As with me, so you can actually ask questions inside the community and get answers from me and the community whenever you need help. On top of that, you get an accountability group. So we actually have this accountability group daily. It's called the Action Takers Daily Check-in, and you can post your goals here and just get help and support whenever you need to, right? So you get all these accountability, which I think is huge when it comes to AI, because there's lots of shiny objects, but most people don't take action. On top of that, you get unlimited tech support, so you can create a thread and get answers quickly. You get 4 weekly coaching calls, so you can jump on coaching calls with a trained PhD expert in AI who can just guide you in real time. Plus, you get to meet the rest of the community. And on top of that, you get all my best trainings on AI. So, for example, my playbooks on like how to automate YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, etc. You get a full 6-week roadmap on how to go from a beginner to an expert in just 5 weeks with AI, plus how to build your first AI agent in under 5 minutes. DJ Generation says, just joined, thanks for everything. Thank you very much. You remind me how much more I need to learn and push. Awesome. Thanks so much for joining, DJ. And then Mark says, hey, where can I find these courses? So if you're watching on Facebook, what you can do is you just type in like AI Success Lab into Google. Type in AI Success Lab Julian Goldie, and you'll find me right here, right? And this is it. So you can get access right there. Or you can just click on this link, and it's free. Right? Feel free to get it there. So thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Cheers. Samantha says, thanks for the information. Have to go. Oh, well, happy to help. Thank you. Today, I'm going to show you how to build almost anything with Google AI Studio and how to go from a complete beginner to an expert by building with this. Now, if you've never used AI Studio, it's available at aistudio.com. And if you go to the build section here, you can start building out, for example, apps. So you can see here, for example, we actually built out a Spanish tutor live and it's voice controlled. Here's an example. So if we play this and then we'll click play. Hey, are you online?
Hola, soy tu profe de español. ¿Cómo estás hoy?
Todo bien, gracias.
Qué bueno. ¿Listo para practicar español?
Ya listo.
Muy bien.
All right, you get the point. Before anyone starts laughing at my Spanish. And so what we're going to do today is basically show you how to build whatever you want. And that could be apps, websites, tools, games, voice assistants, all without writing a single line of code using Google AI Studio. And we'll test this live. I'm going to show you how to build real apps in minutes, even if you've never coded before, even if you think you're not technical, even if you've tried other tools and got stuck. This is different because Google basically have released like this vibe coding tool that works almost all the time, right? And so we're going to show you some examples of how you can use this, and I'm going to give you some example prompts, all right? So if you go inside the build section here, what you want to do is you want to type in, for example, the prompt of whatever you want to build. If you're not sure what you want to build, I would just focus on what do you spend most of your time on day to day, right? Like if you spend time tracking your macros for the gym, okay, maybe create a macro app tracker. And so, for example, here, what we're going to say is create a sleek SEO lead qualifier app with a dark professional theme. Here's what you're going to do, blah, blah, blah. And you can see at the bottom here, we can actually insert different abilities for the app. I'm not going to use that for this automation, but I will show you that in a second, all right? So if we open up the build section here, that's going to just start coding off right here. And it is pretty much as simple as that. Now, inside AI Studio as well, what you can do is you can go to your app section and you can see all the stuff that you've previously created, right? So for example, here we've generated like AI Spanish tutor, SEO voice assistant for my SEO agency. We've got the Pets R Us voice assistant, which is kind of like a demo for a pet shop. We've got, for example, a logo creator as well. So all sorts of crazy stuff. Like for example, if we have a look at Thumb Genie, what Thumb Genie does, right? And it comes up with the names itself. I didn't name it that, right? You can actually just, for example, go inside here, describe what you want, and then generate a thumbnail, right? So for example, if I'm like, okay, Google AI Studio vibe coding, we'll plug that as the idea, and then that'll begin to generate a thumbnail using Nano Banana for us. So we'll wait for these two to load. We've got this one loading in the background, this one as well. I've shown you an example of what already works. And the way that I'd recommend really understanding this is what I call the Julian Goldie Build Anything framework, right? And this is my personal framework for turning ideas into working apps using Google AI Studio. I call it the Build Anything Blueprint, right? It's based on how I actually use these tools to run my SEO agency and how I create so much content. So basically, the way that we use this is we just come up with the ideas, and we plug them into AI Studio and type them in plain English. It's as simple as that, right? So for example, here we can plug in a website URL, the business name, and then we're good to go. So if we type in, okay, Goldie Agency, juliangoldie.com, for example, we hit start free audit. It's going to ask us a bunch of questions here. And this is a tool that we literally just built out. And I could genuinely use this as a lead magnet for my agency. And then we can say, okay, the problems are low organic traffic, poor keyword rankings, blah, blah, blah. Analyze my site. And then it will actually start analyzing the SEO profile, right? So it's using this AI agents to analyze that website based on the prompt that we created, right? And it's done everything that we asked for. So for example, welcome screen, the quick questions, the AI generated audit. It's given us the audit right here. And then if we want to unlock the full strategy, right, guess what we have to do? Plug in our details, the assets. So it's a great lead magnet that can generate leads using this quiz method. And we built it in what, like 1 or 2 clicks? It's so simple. If we have a look at this one, we've generated the thumbnail. What I want to show you is something even better than that, because we actually created a better version for thumbnails. Let me find this one for you. All right, so what we can actually do here is we can plug in a photo of me plus a video topic. So for example, how I vibe code with Google AI Studio. And then you just go to wherever your picture is stored. So I'm going to go to juliangoldie.com, download this, save the image. Then we'll go back to here. And we'll upload the image. All right, so we'll take that. Okay, now it's going to use the AI avatar video to generate the thumbnail. We can choose our style. So for example, like could be like clean or vibrant or viral. Hit generate thumbnail, and that will actually generate a canvas preview, right, for the Thumbnail Pro tool. Now, if we go back here, we've got this other prompt that we've generated. And what I've actually done is created a 30-day build anything challenge, right? Each day takes about 15 to 30 minutes. You don't need to be able to code. It's just giving you ideas. And so, for example, you can get your first build. Then you could, for example, create a Pomodoro timer, right? So if we go to AI Studio here, again, we will go to build, plug this in, hit build, boom. There we go, right? And we've generated the thumbnail here as well. So we can actually download that with the download button, and that's the app ready to go. How do we create that? Well, we just said, create a YouTube thumbnail designer app. Let me plug in a picture of myself, generate a landscape YouTube thumbnail design, boom, we're ready to go, right? And then you can see this is now building out the Pomodoro timer as well. So there's so many things you could do with this, right? And what I've actually done is, for example, build out a 30-day plan that you can steal from me, and you can basically copy everything that I've talked about today. And just implement this and really master it. And I mean, imagine if you built 30 apps, like if you built 30 apps, like you see here, in 15 minutes a day, how game changing would that be for you, right? And in terms of like breaking your limiting beliefs, well, let's destroy the stories that might be holding you back from building with AI. Because I know this stuff looks intimidating, or difficult to use, etc. But I've shown you how easy it is, right? And I've built a couple of apps for you already. I mean, we've created the Pomodoro timer now as well, as you can see, and you can see it's ready to go here. Now, also, just one thing before we keep going on, we can actually share that with other people, and we can actually deploy the app onto a project on Google Cloud, and then we can share that with the world so the world can start using it, right? So if we click on this, for example, we've got the link of the deployment, and then if we click on share app, we've got the actual app ready to go. And the main thing here is like you make sure you click publish your app and default to full screen, and then it will actually create a deployable app for you, right? So if we click on copy now, open this up, boom, full screen, Pomodoro timer, you're good to go on that, right? Like that's working whenever you need it. And so the working app works, beautiful. We can switch between sessions, etc. We can see our completed sessions down here. And you can build whatever you want with AI Studio. It's so simple and easy. So let's go back to some of the limited beliefs that might be holding some people back, right? Some people say, well, I'm not technical enough. This is like saying I'm not technical enough to order food at a restaurant. Like, can you describe what you want? Can you say I want a website that collects emails? Then you can build apps, right? You know, all you need to do is be able to describe what you want. And Google AI Studio helps you describe and build, right? So the new empowering belief really is like, if I can describe it, I can build it, right? Like that's it. Some people say, well, I need to learn to code first. This is like saying I need to learn to build an engine before I can drive a car. No, you don't. You just learn to drive, right? The car handles the engine. I mean, Walt Disney, for example, he couldn't animate. His animations were actually rejected for being too basic. So what did he do? He described his vision. He got others to implement, and he built the biggest entertainment company in history, right? So Google AI Studio is your animator, your coder, your implementer. You just need the vision. And the new empowering belief really is like, my job is a vision, AI handles the execution. Some people say, well, AI built apps won't be good enough quality, but Gemini Flash and Pro, which is what you're using inside AI Studio to build, well, that's scoring some of the highest benchmarks ever on software engineering benchmarks, right? And that's basically a benchmark for coding ability. So it rivals professional developers on complex coding tasks. It's 3 times faster than previous versions. You know, and if you look at, for example, like Steve Jobs, right? Steve Jobs didn't design every product himself. He just described what he wanted. World-class engineers went and built it, and his gift was the vision, the direction, etc. Right? And so your vision has the edge. AI has the skills, you have the ideas. Together, you're unstoppable, right? So the new empowering belief really is like, AI gives me developer-level output. My ideas make it unique. So if you want to get all the notes from today, that's how to master AI Studio. I've talked about how you can use it, how you can build with it. I've given you all the resources to today as well. If you want to see more creations and stuff that I've shared about AI Studio, you can actually type in AI Studio inside the AI Success Lab, and you'll get access to all the video notes from today, plus everything else. The AI Success Lab actually connects you with 42,100 members, so you can get all the training from today. If you go to the classroom here, you go to December, you'll find all the notes, as you can see from today, plus the 30-day plan. Plus, on top of that, just to help you out even more, what I've actually done is created a list of 100 prompts for Google AI Studio. You can just copy and paste these into the link here. And, you know, for example, I've given you prompts on like business and lead generation, content creation, games and fun, right? Health and fitness, productivity apps you could build. We've got business apps, we've got learning and education, we've got travel and lifestyle stuff, right? Pretty much everything you could ever imagine. And so, you know, whatever you need, you can get results. Will says, thanks, talk soon, happy to help. And Damavisha says, would this be able to make an app to help me, you know, like sell electronics? And absolutely you could, right? The way that I would actually do that is just come up with, okay, what's your vision for that app? And then describe it in the simplest way possible that you can inside AI Studio, and then just see what you get, right? And just tweak and use that build anything framework that I talked about before, right? The build anything blueprint. So thanks so much for watching. That's since all the notes are inside the AI Success Lab. If you want to get help, support, if you want to connect with me personally, if you want to get daily Q&As with me where I answer your questions, you can get that inside the AI Profit Boardroom. So jump inside the AI Profit Boardroom, link in the comments description. You get access to a daily accountability group that basically helps you implement this stuff. You'll get access to a community of 1,900 serious builders. You'll be able to share your wins and get help and support whenever you need it. You can post questions in here and get unlimited tech support. Also, inside the calendar, you get 4 weekly coaching calls. so you can jump on the coaching calls, get help and support whenever you need to. And then inside the classroom here, what we actually do is we help you go from complete beginner to expert in just like 6 weeks. Plus, on top of that, you actually learn how to build your first AI agent in under 5 minutes. As well as that, we also give you all our best trainings on like how to generate videos, how we automate shorts, Twitter automations, newsletter automations, everything you need to really succeed with AI based on what I've tested. And, I've tested AI for thousands and thousands of hours at this point. And also you'll get all my best training on like how to get clients for your agency. You can watch back the coaching calls inside the classroom. You can check out my best AI SEO automations. And also we have a 6-week roadmap on how to master YouTube as well. And that's all inside the AI Profit Boarding. Feel free to get it, link inside the comments in the description. Damavicius says, excellent. Thanks, happy to help. And Pablo says, thanks, mate. Awesome. This is gold. Happy to help you both. Thank you so much. Today, I'm going to show you how to build and automate almost anything with Minimax. And this is a powerful new agent that just dropped. It is extremely impressive. You can see, for example, it built out this SEO dashboard. It can build out, for example, landing pages, sales dashboards, fitness dashboards. It created a whack-a-mole game, a 3D card game. Check out this 3D card racer game. It's pretty crazy. So if we open this up, we can click on Start Race. And then what you're going to see over here is that it's actually generated a 3D racer game where we can race through a tunnel and then start driving around, right? Pretty crazy. You can see here as well, we created a rock, paper, scissors game, another racing game. Let's open up this racing game. This is quite fun, I think. So if we press space to start, we can just drive around, build out our own games. We want to be distracted with AI, right? We also built out a landing page. I'm just going to show you how to use this stuff and build out almost anything that you want, all right? We've got a great question here from Obolo. So I don't know if I pronounced the name correctly, so forgive me if I did. But you can see here, Obi says, thank you so much. As an SEO guy in Nigeria, how can I use this to scale my SEO agency by building an SEO agency that will help me get really hard results, all right? So it depends what you want to build, but I've actually got some sample prompts inside the video notes from today. So let's say, for example, I wanted to build out, I have an SEO agency too, right? So let's say, for example, I wanted to build out like a sample SEO dashboard for my agency, right? Well, what I can do over here is I can plug in this prompt like so. I can say build a 3D interactive SEO dashboard, including like floating holograph cards and particle effects, blah, 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 right? We'll plug that in like so. And we can switch between Lightning, Custom, and Pro, right? Custom actually builds your own way, so you can actually program it to build your own way. Lightning does its own magic, and you can see here we've got Minimax 2.1 set up, right? So I'm just going to hit run like that, and that will actually start to build out the dashboard in the background. Now, if you want to learn like more prompts and ways that you can use this, I've actually got 100 prompts inside the video notes from today. So, like dashboard prompts, website building prompts. I mean, this would be great for SEO agencies too. So for example, we could automate like, a website for your agency or for your clients, and then actually use that as an upsell, right? For our clients as well. So that's a pretty good way to use it. And the method that I'm going to show you today is called the Minimax Mastery Framework, right? And this is your 30-day plan to build and automate anything. So, first of all, you might be wondering like, what is Minimax, right? And you can see all the benchmarks here, and you can see that it just got announced very recently, right? So it's a brand new technology that just came out. It's an upgrade from their old stuff, and it performs very well on the benchmarks, as you can see right here. Now, this is a free open source AI agent from China that just went live. Now, when I say free, you can actually use it open source. You can host it locally. If you use it inside the chat here, you get very limited credit. So just be aware of that, right? And then if you go inside here, you might be wondering, okay, why is that important? Well, it can build complete websites, apps, and 3D animations, as I've shown you, and also over 10 programming languages, even if you don't code. It runs about 2 times faster than most AI tools. You can run it for free on your own computer locally, and it connects to tools like Excel, Google Maps, Slack, etc. Right now, if you want to indicate how do you run it locally, what you want to do is you want to go to Ollama.com, download that, and that will help you host a lot of different AIs locally. Now, if you go over here and you type in Minimax M2.1, you can actually run this from the cloud. And so what you do is you go inside Ollama and you just select Minimax, download the model, and it will run it from cloud. And there are like usage limits, but I've never hit the limits. And I don't think most people are going to hit the limits, honestly, unless you're absolutely rinsing it. So you can see here, it's beginning to build stuff out. You might say, Thou says, what's a tricky prompt? Well, let's take some more prompts from the examples I want to give you, right? So for example, here we are going to say, create an interactive browser game for the AI Profit Boredom community, right? Character selection screen, blah, blah, blah. Let's do this, right? Make it extremely addictive and fun, right? So what I'm going to do over here is we're going to go to minimax.agent. And this is the other thing to note here is like you can build multiple automations at the same time. So you don't just have to rely on one. And then we can plug in that and have that coding in the background. So we've got 2 projects building out now. We've got the SEO dashboard, and we also have the interactive browser game. Let's build another one. So from here, what we're actually going to do is we're going to build an AI drum machine, right? You know, why it's cool is I make music on Spotify. You know, this is something I could actually use. It shows AI can handle audio too. So I can take this, go to Minimax, plug that in, boom shakalaka. We're off to the races, all right? We could even create like a 3D Lego brick builder, right? An interactive 3D workspace where you can build anything with virtual Lego bricks, right? I think Minimax actually already built one of these. And if you want to see something super impressive, let me try and find this for you. I think it'll be inside the resource notes from today. So this is pretty insane. What Minimax actually did is they created a 3D interactive interaction. Someone built this, and basically it responds to your camera, right? So this will actually respond to my gestures on camera, and then the screen will change and the AI recognizes it, right? So it blows my mind. I don't know how it was built, but it basically has gesture control. So let me show you how it works, right? So if I have an open hand, it will scatter, right? As you can see, and I can move it around like this. Pretty insane, right? Now, if I close my hand, it should gather the tree. There we go. All right. And then if we open the hand, boom, close it, boom, right? And then we can just move it around. So it responds to my gestures. So that's something else you can build as well. Pretty amazing. And you can do all this inside Minimax. We're going to close that tab now. So we've got these tasks building out, as you can see in the background. Goldie says, what are the risks? So, you know, always do your own research. Honestly, I think the best way to use it is like use it on agent.minimax.io. And the reason for that is because it's running in a virtual private server, right? A VPS. And so it doesn't have access to anything on my laptop. It's just running in a isolated server. And I think that's the best way to use this. But again, like do your own research and everything like that. So it's building out a simulator, as you can see right here, and working its magic. So what I actually generated is a 30-day Minimax mastery plan. This is your day-by-day roadmap to going from like 0 to building anything with AI. And so like you can sign up to it here. You can build your first visual project, as you can see right here. You could connect your first MCP tool. If you're not sure how to use MCPs or how to connect them, what you can actually do inside here. And if you're wondering like what are MCPs? MCPs are basically like they're like tools that you can connect inside here, right, to make it work. The other cool thing that you can do with this is you can actually go to schedule tasks and you can schedule stuff to happen, right? So if I click on new schedule and I'm like, right, on the 25th of each month at 5 p.m. or like, you know, every day at 8 a.m. deliver a breakdown of all the latest AI updates from today, right? Every day at 8 a.m. And then what we can actually do is we can, inside the MCP settings here, we can actually manage MCP, and we can connect, for example, like Slack or Notion or Figma or GitHub or GitLab, etc. Right? And you can see we've already got, for example, Google Maps there. You can actually add your own custom MCPs as well, which is pretty cool. And then you can plug those in directly here. Right? And so we can say every day, 8 a.m., deliver a breakdown of all the latest day updates from today. And that task will just run every single day. The other cool thing about this is when it actually works and when it's completed the task, it'll actually deploy those automatically to a subdomain. Now, if you want to change that to your own custom domain, for example, I could put like Julian Goldie SEOdashboard.com, then I can just click on that and change and connect my custom domain as well, right? So now we've got the example drum machine here. All right, you can see it works. It's pretty functional. And if we actually put the sound on, we'll play this out. Let's play this. Incredible, isn't it? So you can see how you can easily build a drum machine that works in the background. And that worked perfectly first time around, didn't it? Plus it deployed it on a subdomain. Plus it took a pretty complex prompt, as you can see. We said, build a 16-step drum machine. We added like kick, snare, hi-hat, clap, bass sounds, visual grid, play, pause, tempo controls. Everything was there inside there. So it's pretty amazing. I mean, here we've got the SEO dashboard as well. So this is the SEO dashboard that we've got. We can open it up. And there we go. We can plug in our keywords and everything. And then over here, we have the AI Profit Boredom game. All right. We can click between that, test it out. Here we go. Let's play that again. I'm actually going to mute that because it's got sound effects. And we can share this too. So if we click on share, we can share the chat itself so that people can check it out. And now you can see how to build apps and games and tools and dashboards and trackers and drum machines and whatever you want, right? Super simple. And all you do is you type in what you want. So that is basically how to build and automate anything with Minimax. I've given you a full 30-day framework that you can steal from me with all the prompts from today and everything else if you want to build this stuff, all the resources and everything else too. And then some people say, well, these AI tools are too expensive. But you can host it for free locally with Llama and then just use the cloud model. Some people say, well, open source means low quality, but open source really just means no limits and full control, right? Like they scored 88.6 on the Vibe benchmark, actually outperforms Claude Sonnet 4.5 in multilingual coding. It ranks #1 open source models globally. And the model weights are on Hugging Face, so you can download them, run them on your own computer, right? OpenAI doesn't let you do that. Anthropic doesn't let you do that. Google doesn't let you do that, but Minimax does, right? Other people say, well, I'll figure this out later. But every day you wait, you fall further behind, right? So here's the uncomfortable truth. It's like AI is moving very fast. Minimax M2 only came out in October 2025. Minimax M2.1 came out in December 2025, right? That's 2 months between major releases. So the people learning it now are going to have massive experience before the others get around to it. And you don't really have time to wait. The good news is that you can catch up with the 30 days with the framework that I've given you today. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. And, if we have a look at the old way versus the new way, well, the old way was really You know, if you wanted a website, you'd have to hire a developer, wait 2 to 4 weeks, and it would be expensive, right? If you wanted a dashboard, you'd have to get expensive software, learn the interface, and subscribe. If you wanted to get automation, well, you'd have to hire a virtual assistant, train the management, and hope that they don't quit, right? If you wanted to learn a skill, you'd have to like get a course and then watch loads of videos and then forget most of it, right? If you wanted to test a business idea, well, you'd have to build an MVP. That takes months, and then by the time it's done, you know, the window is gone, right? Whereas here's a new way. If you want a website, you describe it to Minimax, you get it in 10 minutes. If you want a dashboard, tell Minimax what metrics matter, it builds it. If you want automation, describe the workflow, Minimax creates it. If you want to learn a new skill, just start building, learn by doing. And if you want to test a new business idea, well, you could build a prototype today and test it out tonight. Okay, so like the gap between I have an idea and I have a working product just collapse. And that gap, that's where most entrepreneurs usually fall off. They have the vision, they just can't implement fast enough. Whereas Minimax really removes that excuse forever. So I've given you a 30-day plan. I've told you exactly how to use it. I've shown you examples of it actually working. And what I've also done is included 100 prompts you can use, for example, for website building, or for example, dashboards or animation prompts and everything else, right? All of this is inside the AI Success Lab. Link in the comments and description, along with all the resources and links today, right? So feel free to get that. We've got a free community with 42,200 members, as you can see, so you can post in there, introduce yourself, etc. We have a classroom with all the video notes from today. So if you go to the December section here, you get all the video notes, as you can see. And then if you haven't checked out already, feel free to check out the AI Profit Boardroom. Inside there, basically what we teach you is we show you how to build with AI automation. The main thing here is like you actually really learn about AI and you join a community of winners who are getting results with it, right? Like you're part of something. I'm part of something bigger than me here. And that's what I love. It's like, you know, for example, like Darren, he's got a daily accountability group and everyone just checks in, posts their goals, posts what they're working on, and everyone holds each other accountable to it, right? Top of that, people share their wins, people share what they're working on, etc. And I think that's amazing because, you know, if we share how we're winning, everyone learns, everyone grows together. There's prompts in there that have blown me away since I've been checking that out. And then also, you can see that we have a full 6-week masterclass on how to go from like beginner to expert inside the AI Profit Boardroom. And we teach you how to build your first AI agent in under 5 minutes. We also have a bunch of stuff on like how to automate videos, content, newsletters, lead generation, etc. Instagram videos, shorts inside the classroom. And these are all based on what's working for me. You get my best N10 templates, an agency course on how to get clients, Q&A call recordings, ASEO automations, and a 6-week roadmap on how to grow a YouTube channel just like I did. On top of that, you get 4 weekly coaching calls where you can jump on live coaching calls, get help, get support, meet the community, and also learn from a PhD trained scientist in AI. So it's pretty amazing. And yeah, you get that all inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Feel free to get it. Link in the comments and description. Pablo says, still here. I'm more confident than ever. Thanks again. Always happy to help you. Shab says, what's the name of this app builder? Just rewind the live stream, but you'll see all the stuff that I've shown today, including like Google, Opal, AI Studio, Gemini, Firebase. And then Rav says, thanks for the awesome broadcast today. Is Minimax can be used in enterprise use cases? Do you know what? I think you got to be careful there. The reason that I say that is like, I don't, you know, typically with enterprise, you're going to have a lot more red tape and that sort of thing. So I would just like, you know, anything that you do or build with AI for an enterprise, like you can use it, of course, like it's great for building stuff out and generating stuff, but I would just always approve it with your team, or I'm sure you probably already do that, but that's all. I would just be safe first, check with them, check everything's okay. And then, you know, if they're comfortable with you using it, then you can use it for content generation. You can use it for building stuff. I mean, like I actually did consulting with a company last month, and I was showing them all the stuff I do on my X and with YouTube, for example, and then they were using and implementing that on their business. And, you know, once you learn how to use this stuff and implement it, it's amazing, right? So appreciate you watching. Hope to see you inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye-bye.